Hello, and thank you for joining us again at Voice of Rohingya Radio. We are a registered nonprofit coming to you from the state of Oregon in the United States of America. I would like to take some time to thank all of our listeners who allow this program to continue providing the latest news through our exclusive interviews, reports from inside the border, and reputable sources from around the world. If you would like to stay up to date with our program, you can find our weekly broadcasts every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Pacific online at youtube.com/VOR radio, or you can join our page on Facebook to find more information on our activities and past programs. It is December 21st, 2014. For Voice of Rohingya Radio, I am your host, Zach Taylor. In our first story today, a prominent former official with Myanmar's main opposition party was detained on Wednesday and faces charges of insulting religion, which stemmed from a speech intended to discourage extremist interpretations of Buddhism. Tin Lin U, a writer, was dismissed from his post as an information officer for the National League for Democracy after an excerpt from a speech he gave in October was shared widely online, promoting accusations he had attacked Buddhism. An official with the NLD, which is chaired by Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi, told Reuters earlier this week that the party relieved Tin Lin U of his position because he went too far in his speech. His intention was to expose things that are bad for Buddhism, like extremism and racism, Thein Than U told Reuters. His actual intention was to ask for more tolerance. In a speech at a literary event in Chang'u Township in Myanmar's northern Sagaing division, Tin Lin U challenged those linking Buddhism with race and nationality. If you want to be an extreme nationalist, and if you love to maintain your race that much, don't believe in Buddhism, he said. The man is facing up to 3 years in prison after being charged last month with violating laws against acts intended to insult religion and remarks that provoke religious anger. Late last month, Myanmar President U Thein Sein sent a controversial draft law that would restrict the ability of Buddhist women to marry non-Buddhist men. Supporters say the law, which lawmakers are expected to debate in January, would protect race and religion. Love and marriage is a social issue, a clash between parents and partners. It shouldn't be dictated by religion, said a Muslim woman in Yangon who is married to a Hindu man. Like other women interviewed, she asked not to be identified in hopes of not showing disrespect to Buddhism and Buddhist leaders. Despite social pressures from other Muslims and from her husband's family, the couple has been married for 25 years. The draft marriage bill would govern unions between Buddhist women and men of other faiths. Under the provision, interfaith couples would need to apply to local authorities, gain the approval of the women's parents if she is under the age of 20, and post a public notice announcing the engagement. The marriage could only then take place if no objections were raised. Thin Theng Aung is a Christian who is married to a Buddhist man. She said she opposes the law, but not because her own interfaith marriage, but because she believes it places an unreasonable and unacceptable burden on women. The law implies that women are weak and in need of protection from husbands, families, and society. Thin Theng Aung said, yet women are blamed when they are raped because of how they dressed. Last May, more than 100 civil society organizations issued a statement denouncing the proposed legislation, calling it undemocratic and discriminatory. Some of those who spoke out received death threats via anonymous letters, phone calls, text messages, and online messages. Religious and social issues are intermingled, complicated, and controversial in Myanmar, said Buddhist women's rights advocate Da Phu Ai Thain. Groups that proposed the law said its purpose is to preserve and purify Buddhism, and that it protects Buddhist women. But I do not understand that clearly, Phu Ai Thain said. If clergy wish to purify and preserve Buddhism, there are many subtle ways that Buddha taught us to do so. Why tackle the sensitive issue of marriage? In other news, the Turkish International Cooperation and Development Agency has distributed food, clothing, and stationery to the people of Myanmar and Arakan State. 600,000 people have benefited from the distribution that took place in the Yangon area, with 2 separate shipments of 600,000 tons to the capital of Sittwe. In the press statement, it was explained that many beneficiaries of the supplies were living in camps and faced difficult conditions, with nearly 300,000 reportedly close to starvation. Contemporaneously, the Myanmar United Nations Food Program had reduced their limit, and as a result, many Rohingya in Myanmar are starving. The Muslim beneficiaries living near the camps and villages expressed their great gratitude for the people of Turkey for helping them through this difficult time. Senior members of political parties in Burma have slammed Union Election Commission Chairman Ten Ai for comments he made this week signaling the possibility of another military coup if instability threatened the nation. During remarks at a meeting with artists at the Mikasa Hotel in Rangoon, in which he also defended the Burma Army's continued role in politics, Tin Ai on Tuesday said the military would seize power in the event of political or ethnic turmoil in the country. He added, however, that such an outcome would not be desirable. Members of opposition and ethnic political parties have responded unfavorably, saying the comments were inappropriate coming from the UEC chairman at a time when the prospect of constitutional reform is stirring considerable debate in Burma. Pro-democracy and ethnic minority factions are angling for an overhaul of the charter, a prospect that has been dismissed by Burma's politically powerful military establishment. The country has deteriorated in every way because of coups by the army, Ai Tha Aung of Arakan National Party said. Burmese citizens still can't escape from poverty brought about by dictators. He should not say to the people that the army could stage a coup again. He intends to impede the progress of the country by saying so. Tin Ai, an ex-general and former parliamentarian for the ruling Union Solidarity and Development Party, on Tuesday also justified the Burma Army's guaranteed 25% of seats in parliament by claiming that military parliamentarians were playing a supporting role in the country's democratization. Political analyst Bobal Kyanyen said that because the 2008 constitution allows the military to take a leading role in national politics as well as effectively authorizing a military coup, he viewed Tin Ai's words as a warning to political parties not to stir things up. An upper house lawmaker with the USDP echoed Tin Ai, saying the army would need to seize power if the country descended into chaos. What would happen to the country if the army did not seize power in case of instability? The army would seize power if things like the 1988 uprising happened again, he said. If backsliding is not wanted, then make sure there is no instability. In other news, Myanmar border guard police shot dead a Myanmar national living in Bangladesh illegally while fishing in the Naf River in Cox's Bazar this morning. The victim, Kala, was a Myanmar citizen who, along with his family, had been living in Bangladesh illegally for a long time, the police official claimed. The family members were able to claim the body of the victim. You are listening to Voice of Rohingya Radio. Thank you again for listening to Voice of Rohingya Radio, a registered nonprofit out of Oregon bringing you up-to-date news information on the Rohingya people in Myanmar. I am your host, Zach Taylor. Bangladesh has proposed setting up a border liaison office in Teknaf of Cox's Bazar in order to smoothen joint efforts with Myanmar to curb transboundary crimes and illegal trespassing. The proposal was heard on day one of the 4-day border conference between Border Guard Bangladesh and Myanmar's Border Guard Police at the BGB headquarters in Dhaka. We detailed the plan for the liaison office and how it can benefit both countries in maintaining congenial relations, said a BGB official who attended the conference. The Bangladesh side also expressed concern over the illegal crossing of the border by Myanmar nationals. Myanmar's border police, however, said they had installed a fence to prevent trespassing. Over the last few years, Bangladesh has been trying to build a warm relationship with the Myanmar border guards, but there has been very little response. The relationship deteriorated following the death of a BGB officer who was shot dead on May 28th of this year by Myanmar border guard police personnel. In other news, members of a Rohingya youth club taking refuge in New Delhi, India, called the Genius Rohingya Youth Club, joined a meeting with UNHCR ambassador Bollywood actor John Abraham on December 15th this year. In the meeting with the UNHCR ambassador, the refugees from Afghanistan, Somalia, and ethnic Chin from Myanmar also joined with the Genius Rohingya Youth Club. The refugees performed their traditional dances and songs before starting the meeting, and the UNHCR Chief of Mission, Mr. Dominic Barch, introduced John Abraham to the attendees. The Genius Rohingya Youth Club was formed by Rohingya youth in New Delhi. Their aims are to preserve the original culture of the Rohingyas, assisting Rohingya community members in India, campaigning about the plight of the Rohingya, developing the community, information sharing with UNHCR officials, and to reduce the pain from the sorrows of refugees by various forms of entertainment. They have been engaging in various sporting activities as well. The Rohingya youths have submitted a letter to the chair of Human Rights Organization that detailed all about the Rohingya refugees in India. In the letter, they also detailed the difficulties of all Rohingya refugees in each state of India and highlighted how Rohingya refugees were arrested while crossing the border, and there is no one to help free the estimated 5,000 Rohingyas from jails in the Kolkata region. Children being kept at the child detention centers was also among the topics. Although the United Nations is well informed of all this, the problems still remain unsolved. The emergence of 2 Rohingya boat people from the jungle north of Phuket early today prompted a hunt for as many as 300 people reportedly hidden on an island off the coast. As authorities pursued a lead in their human trafficking investigation, a pickup carrying 19 Rohingya south to the border with Malaysia overturned, leaving 11 with serious injuries. Earlier today, a Rohingya appeared out of the jungle at a checkpoint on the main road south from the border province of Renang. The checkpoint was set up in October by Takwapa district officials who, with local residents, want to put an end to the human trafficking through Thailand. The first Rohingya man appeared out of the jungle at about 3:30 a.m. and a second man emerged about 5 a.m. The men said they had been aboard a boat from near the town of Sitwe in Rakhine State with about 300 men, women, and children. The vessel had stayed at sea for about a month, the journey usually takes a few days, before they were carried ashore and hidden on an island off of Thailand. Hundreds of islands hidden among mangroves pepper the Andaman Sea coast. The Rohingya said they were kept on an island for 17 days before being trucked south overnight. The local community campaign in Takwapa to end human trafficking has spread to neighboring districts and focused the attention of authorities in Bangkok on the need to look more closely at the flow of thousands of Rohingya and Bangladeshis through Thailand's Andaman Coast provinces to the Malaysian border. Those who have survived the secret jungle camps near the border say rapes, abuse, and beatings are commonplace. Finally today, 8 Arakan Muslim Rohingya from northern Maungda Township in Arakan State were sentenced to 2 years for refusing to participate in the census conducted by Myanmar Border Guard Police. On August 1st of 2014, the Border Guard Police conducted a census in the name to register Arakans as illegal Bengali immigrants. As the census referred to Arakan Muslims as Bengali immigrants, the villagers refused to participate. Although the whole village refused, 9 were targeted and arrested, according to the report. 1 of them was released on that day, and 8 were tried and sentenced to 2 years in prison with hard labor. During the hearing at the court, the families were not allowed to attend, and the arrestees were not allowed to hire a lawyer. Ages of the 8 Arakan Muslim arrestees range from 17 to 50. The court decision was made on December 2nd at Maungda Township Court, according to the locals. They were tried under Burma Penal Code 353, which is assaulting a public servant during the time they are on duty. The arrestees did not try to convince anyone in the village to refuse participation in the census, nor did they organize any event to halt it. They simply stayed at home, not willing to participate if their Rohingya identity was not accepted. You are listening to Voice of Rohingya Radio. Thanks again for listening to Voice of Rohingya Radio, a weekly news program bringing you up-to-date information about the Rohingya people in Myanmar. You can catch our broadcasts every Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time here in the United States at youtube.com/VOR Radio, or you can join our page on Facebook to find more information on the program. For Voice of Rohingya Radio, this is Zach Taylor, signing out.